Welcome to Behind the Box. So today we're speaking with Leonardo Willis, CEO at Sports World Television. Tell us how you're doing today.
I'm doing fine, Chris. I'm doing fine. Thank you for the interview. I'm excited.
Great to hear it. Let's get right into the questions. For one, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Tell us about your history, some of what led you to the path of making Sports World Television.
Man, that's goodness. That's a whole story, Chris. Man, I mean, like as a kid, I was a different kind of kid. African, Afro-Cuban parents, mother's African American and Cuban, father's Cuban. You know, they lived by a different set of rules. You know, we just didn't make anybody rich, so you know we had to actually work after school and learn the mechanics of life. You know, so my father was just a hustle hard kind of guy and pushed that entrepreneur skillship on me. Coming up as a kid, I got my entrepreneur break at 13 years old. Tried to go work for somebody. Pop said no, threw me a wooden stand and put me out in front of the house after school every day and said, hey, sell this candy and don't eat any of it since you want to make money, huh? So we don't make other people's rich. So I just been an entrepreneur, man, since then, cutting grass, knocking on doors. Hey, you want your garbage in for $1, man? You know, I hustled so hard, man, at college, my first year of college. I was the only person up there with a 944 Porsche, fresh out of high school.
Wow.
Tennessee State. So, I just got an entrepreneur jug in life from my pops, man, and I just took it and ran with it. It just kind of grew. I never wanted to work for anyone again.
That's a really good skill to have because a lot of people, all they can do is really work for somebody. That's not bad, but the fact that you can just go get it yourself, that really sets you apart.
Exactly.
So, I know before you worked in the music industry quite a bit. Can you tell us about your transition from the music industry to running a sports TV station with a lot of combat? What motivated you to make that change?
Man, that's another big story, bro. I mean, like, I should tell you, I've got various books that are, you know, certain targeted audiences with these different books. As a kid, I did intern at Stax Records in Memphis, Tennessee. I got my music bug there, man. Jennifer Holliday, David Porter, Al Green, Isaac Hayes. I mean, when Isaac sold, when they got rid of the Money Green 14 karat gold El Dorado at Lazarus Junkyard, I was actually right there with them on my bike. Pictures in the museum at Stax Records on Macklemore, you know, have pictures in there of me as a little sandy hair. Red kid right there with all these guys. And I got out to Seattle, man, and I got into the music scene because of what I knew about music, you know, from Memphis, and became a promoter. Got in with Vin Baker, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, and, you know, started promoting at the venue out there. Bumper Shoot was the festival, and I think it was Key Arena and the Kingdom before they imploded. So I got in with Sean King and Al Heyman and Ken Fields doing concerts with those guys. And just kind of took off after that with what I learned and became a pretty good AMR facilitator. You know, getting in with all the PDs and radio stations and, you know, across the country, just getting artists that were breaking into the streets, because the biggest thing about the record labels is they wasn't going into the streets back then. You know, the streets was real streets. They wasn't what they are today. It's make-believe. So, you know, you showed up on somebody's block out there, they asked you, was you lost? You know what I'm saying? So I took off in broadcast radio, breaking artists on radios, and I did pretty good. I became one of the top radio brokers in the game.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah, so in 2009, you know, they stopped cutting checks. You know, Def Jam stopped cutting checks, Atlantic, Electra, all of them stopped cutting checks. the 360 kicked in. They told the recording artists, you gotta get yourself hot now. So I transitioned into IPTV, Internet Protocol Television. Me and my fiance at the time, opened up the first IPTV studio here in Doraville, Georgia. And, then the second one in Chamblee. And, and I had to end up doing it on my own. Hardship things, two people sometimes don't have the same path. They thought they did, but they don't. So I had to rebuild the brand. And they rebuilt the brand in Events World Television and Sports World Television. Events World for concerts and festivals. Sports World for the up-and-coming rebirth of boxing. I saw it coming and I want it in.
Wow. So, as far as boxing, what inspired you to create the only combat sports TV station in the world? What niche or gap in the market that you identified that led you to pursue that interest?
Well, I boxed at the police department in Memphis, Tennessee, so being a bad kid in the streets kind of like threw me out of the eligibility for moving forward, so I always wanted to be in boxing. So the challenges that I faced trying to put these channels together, just opened up a whole different can of worms. It was not easy whatsoever. So knocking on other doors and trying to see how I can become part of boxing in the telecom industry is a monopolized industry of the top four. So I looked at it and I said, I'm going to be in this game. I've got to build my own telecom empire. I've got to have my own OTA channel. I've got to jump ahead of everyone and move into streaming television before it was even materialized yet. So I started to build in 2009. My first platform was Teens Channel 17, and I used Teens Channel 17 for R&D. I put on showcases with all the celebrities that you know today, from Big Lotto to Lil Uzi. All those guys were on my showcases here at 5x5 in Atlanta venue. So, we aired it, digital breakup and buffering J Player, but we did it, and it just kind of opened the door to say, hey, if I could do this in music, I can do this in any category of telecom I want to. So let me become a major player in professional boxing.
How do you differentiate your TV station from other mainstream sports channels that also cover combat sports?
That's a good question, Chris, because, unbeknownst, before me, there were only 4 major pay-per-view boxing channels. HBO got knocked out by UFC, which is American Mobile Video, with that Mayweather-McGregor bet. And, they just didn't believe that a e-commerce IPTV channel could accumulate more eyeballs than a HBO Comcast channel. And man, they just got their brains blew out. I think Mayweather, that fight, they did $1.6 billion that fight. And I think HBO probably did a little over 400 million. So they got their brains blew out. And after that, it just kind of cemented, pay-per-view television on an OTT, IPT level. And it just kind of fell in my backyard then because I was 10 years ahead of the curve. So all I did was sit back and say, for the next 12 years, I'm not going to put on a fight. I'm just going to make sure that I am proficient in OTT with the telecom channel that I have. I'm going to make sure that I'm in the same wheelhouse, the same cloud space, the same ingredients and vendors they have. Because the only way that a telecom could be discredited is you are not deemed proficient or reliable because you're not in the wheelhouse that the top 4 of you are. So I'm in all those wheelhouses.
What are some industry challenges you faced from the top 4 pay-per-view boxing channels?
Whew. Don't put my gloves on for that one, man. Boy, it's been a fight, man. It's been a fight. Like I said, you have to sit. I sat on the channel for 12 years building it, man. And I built it in the entertainment space to keep me moving in the direction of boxing, coveted where it wasn't identified. The challenge is if you build a channel where are you going to get your programming from? Okay? Because the top four, ESPN, Showtime, Showbox, DAZN, they have broadcast exclusive fighters signed to them. They can't fight for nobody else's channel. So where are you going to get a worthy fight? So I had the first professional boxing summit in the state of Georgia. I invited a slew of boxing promoters from different countries and different states who have been, putting their bid in to be on one of the major channels, like DAZN and all that, but constantly getting rejected, who actually had good fighters that were forced to fight on the undercard because the monopoly of the top four, they were not going to let their prize fighters get taken out by somebody that hadn't reached that accredited level and monetization level. So I worked a LOI with them, okay, letter of intent, to go 18 fights over 3 years with me, and they gave me programming. Okay, so with that, I got past that. Now you've got to look at the ad agencies and see that's where I am today. Trying to get the ad agencies to recognize that number 5, is their opportunity to move out and have a little bit more creative involvement with how their ads are integrated, how their activations are done, because I'm a television network that's willing to work, alongside ad agencies and brands and say, hey, my space is your space. Not give me your money and this is what you get and nothing else, because that's the cockiness of the ones above me. So I'm still in that fight to this day, but I've got some brands that are warming up to me, some ad agencies that are warming up to me. We put our first fight on March 23rd. I over-delivered. July 27th is going to be the next fight. We're cranking up the pay-per-view this time and testing that, its ability to reach its goals. So I'm excited.
Gotcha. So you mentioned your fight on March 27th. Tell me some of the ways which you plan to improve the one on July 27th even more.
The first fight, we were under the microscope about the quality of our television production team and how we distributed content and live broadcasts. Brands want to see that you're not going to damage their brand, that your team is professional enough to handle whatever quirks or mishaps that may happen in broadcast, because they happen frequently. But my team was recognized by most of the brands because they have been in broadcast forever. Some moved over from Turner, some moved over from ESPN. I personally taught them how to work into telecom and DI solutions. Aerospace is where broadcast is today. So, turning on this show, we're going to crank up more components. We're going to crank up the intermission with the live stage. I've been on the phone with several record labels, going back to, my start in entertainment and bringing them on board and having that live intermission to plug in more attraction for ticket sales. We're getting more branding with our staff and getting more reporters on the floor and adding more camera angles in the locker room, just cranking up the show to be more exciting and deliver more adventures in the broadcast for our viewers.
Now, one thing I have noticed is that you're doing a lot for the boxers as well. Tell us a little bit more about what some of the good things that they could get by getting on your cards or possibly working with you.
Well, that's a good question as well, Chris, because, what was so exciting about the first fight? We had Enos Booth's son debut, on our card, which means his first fight was a televised fight. Okay, locally on Channel 32 and globally on Sports World e-commerce, not the Roku or the Amazon channel, but the e-commerce on our website. So, giving a young fighter a chance to come out of the gate and open up or fight on a televised show, increases their visibility. Also, gives a larger audience a chance to look at them and see them and say, hey, this fighter is really improving and looks really good for us to, probably get into a growth program early. You know what I'm saying? So my fight, Sports World Television, we put them center front, out in front of the world early. Not wait till you've 30 fights down and your head's mush and you can't take any more hits, but you still haven't reached your financial goal and you're still trying to starve and get in there and put your life at risk just to, try and come out of boxing with a little bit more than you went in with, So we work in a positive trajectory in so many ways with young fighters.
Combat sports can be a controversial subject due to the inherent physical risk involved. How do you address concerns about fighter safety and ensure that your TV station promotes a responsible and ethical approach to the sport?
That's a good question. Boy, you batting 1,000 a day, man. God.
Got to.
Hey, listen, with that, I believe in safety, 100%. And parts of my answer to your last question was, me in sports sport television, working with fighters to try and get their goals achieved early, to lessen the amount of blows that they take to their head. But at the same time, I hold my staff, and I ask my staff to hold the judges and referees to a higher standard. Be more cautious and more apt to step in when you see a fighter is in trouble. It does not make sense to satisfy the crowd with letting somebody get the mush beat out of them in the corner when somebody should have threw the towel in or the ref should have stopped the fight. I'll be the first one to acknowledge to the commission that this particular referee may need some more training if I see it in my ring.
In addition to that, we're in Atlanta, where a lot of the fights are either in clubs, music venues, just different, I don't want to say lower types, but you've taken the initiative to change that.
Well, the 12 years that I was trying to wiggle my way through municipalities and legislation and understand, the legal side of being in boxing when it comes to, a city. One of the things that I had distaste for was, when I had to test my fights, I had to deal with some of those low-end promotions, some of those gym events, abandoned churches. And, I had one guy says, yo, man, we're over at, the Hyatt Hotel. And I get over there, and it's a small conference room with a ceiling you can look up to and almost hit the fighters in the head. But just because he put on there, he's at the Hyatt or the Marriott, he sold tickets. And so people got there and they were frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Strip clubs, KOD, go down the list. Anything that the hustler promoters can do to get a dollar just damaged boxing here in Atlanta and Georgia, just damaged it bad. I had one promoter put a ring up on a stage, a concert stage, and I'm like, they will do anything to get a dollar. So yes, I partnered with Space Arena. Okay, the Space Event Center is an amazing venue. It is the highest level of atmosphere entertainment for professional boxing here. It's a wide space that allows 360 viewability, comfortable seating, nice light show. The venue is technology advanced with the upgrade of their digital package and wireless package, where retrofitting the television production team in there and being able to go live from their venue made it very plug and play, real easy. With the entertainment run sheet that we have coordinated for putting on a show, and the events that we have throughout the run sheet, acknowledgments, announcers, just put us a whole level above anything else here in Atlanta. But most of all, it actually gave hope back to a damaged boxing market here to the city legislators and to get involved. So yes, we over-delivered. We impressed the governor's office. We impressed the economic development office and the sports and entertainment office, and a few of the colleges who have space at their venues, which wanted to bring boxing there, but they really just couldn't find a good fit for a boxing outfit. So partnering with the telecom, because I'm not a boxing promoter, I'm a telecom, television channels, which means that I get a chance to assist in the management of the boxing promoters that I align myself with. They either do it the broadcast telecom way, or we don't partner with them. They can't promote on my network. So there you have it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Looking into the future, what are your goals and aspirations for your TV station? How do you envision how do you envision the evolution of combat sports coverage and your role in shaping that landscape?
The biggest thing about Sports World Television, man, I'm just ecstatically excited, is we brought back Thursday night fights. A lot of people don't understand. Thursday night fights was the origin of boxing in the U.S. I mean, if you go back and you watch, and this is a bad example, but if you go back and watch Django, you know, when they were having fights up in their house, they were all Thursday nights, okay? A lot of people don't even understand how far it go back with Thursday night. Thursday nights then advanced into the Italians in New York and Chicago being the boxing capital of the United States on Thursday nights, okay? Las Vegas then took it to Fridays and Saturdays, okay? So with us, we are developing tomorrow's champion. I really don't want to fight any of today's champions on my network. My network is strictly for, you know, development purposes. We want to create the next champion. We want to let them get in the ring without any of the padded fights, matched to prearranged fights, Las Vegas controlled fights. These last fights with Haney and Lomo, I mean, God, they don't even care anymore. They don't care that the world is watching them throw fights. They just don't care, okay? Being a self-contained company, you know, and me not having anyone to tell me from one aspect of boxing, telecom to promotions, what I need to do on my network allows me to keep it in a healthy direction, a safe direction, and a genuine direction about how we fight. I had some boxing promoters say they want to put a fight on my fight card. I told them no. I said, if you have a fighter that needs to be matched, we'll give you 3 options and match the fight. You choose one. But there is my antidote and solutions to padded fights. So you will not bring me to A and to B. You bring me either or and I'll match them. I'll give you 3 options to pick a fight. Try to keep it honest in the fight. Try to keep the challenge organic. Somebody's got to try to take it back to originality.
I do. That's actually what's missing in boxing. So, with that, it sounds like you're bringing back boxing to a more wholesome level.
100%.
If you could give a message to boxers or possible prospects for being your event, what would that be?
If you do not have your media package, if you are not investing in the marketing of you as a boxing promoter, you are not fighting on the sports world. This is the biggest problem I have, Chris, is that when we get ready to match the fight and we ask for their pictures, their real clips, their highlights, the material that we need to amp them, to promote them. You know, these guys say, hey man, you could get it off my Facebook, you could get it here. And I'm looking at these guys like, what are you doing with your, why are you boxing? What in God's green earth? You don't have any marketing material? Who's managing you? What's really going on? How do you expect your name to elevate in boxing if you don't have any marketing material for a network or any promoter to hype you up, to put you on a billboard, to put you in a hype reel, to put you in an ad or a commercial? If you're unwilling to come to a studio, which I've offered many times for a boxer, say, hey man, you don't have pictures? I own a television studio, production, cameraman. Come over here, I'll get your pictures taken. Oh man, I don't think I got time for that, I gotta work. I mean, it's like, it's just frustrating, Chris. So what I can tell them is, look man, get your media kit together. Get your promotional material together. It is the most important thing that you need to grow your career. Game over.
Wow, that was a mouthful right there, because many boxers, all they have is that selfie picture or really outdated picture they took a long time ago. So, where can we find you at?
You can find me in Atlanta, Georgia, 5675 Jimmy Carter, number 738 in the Professional Suites, Sports World Television Studios.
Perfect. And what's your Instagram and social?
You can find us at sportsworld_live on IG, Sports World Television on Facebook, Sports World Television on Twitter.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. I really enjoyed this, man. I hope what I've delivered here today, inspires, satisfies, or even open up some doors to the curious, and give them some answers to move forward.
It's definitely going to open a lot of doors.